Alright, listen up folks. If you want to be an absolute beast while playing the fighter on Dark and Darker, this build is where it's at. The Sword and Shield combines the extreme defensive capabilities of the fighter while still maintaining a decent damage output. In today's video, we will be learning all of the fundamentals that you need to know in order to understand how to play this build. Now, let's go over a few key stats in order to make this build good. First off, strength. I would consider this a main stat. You should always try to increase your strength as it increases the physical damage that you do. Because you're using a single hand weapon, you're gonna be dealing less damage, which makes it trading with other classes really hard. In order to combat that, you can stack your strength gear up in order to deal more damage with your sword, vigor. This increases your health and your health recovery bonus. Overall, this is a primary stat for me, but it never goes above strength in terms of how important it is. Agility. This is a secondary stat, but it's still very important because you have to maintain anywhere between 290 to 309 movement speed, I would say, in order to keep up with classes that use light armor, such as rogues, rangers, etc. So for that, you should always aim up to have some agility in your build. Now, dexterity, it's a very important stat to have, but due to the gear that we bring, I usually find myself not having a lot of it. It increases your action speed, which means it increases attacking speed. However, there's other stats for me that are more important to have than dexterity, such as strength and vigor. As far as like, what should I put on my gear? Your main stat would be physical damage reduction. You will want to stack this up as much as you can in order to ensure that you can survive barbarians, rangers. You'll take less physical damage the higher this number is. This usually comes from armor, and you can get it in gear as well. As you can see, this piece gives me 1.4 extra physical damage reduction. You should always try to get gear with that particular stat, one of your main stats, until you have close to 70% physical damage reduction. Then you can start looking for other things. Secondary stats that actually also matter would be magic resistance. It would also be physical damage bonus, which you can get in your weapons. You can also get extra damage in some pieces of gear. Armor pen, you're usually more armored than anyone else, so I normally don't go for this particular stat. Also, getting boots with movement speed bonus could be smart in order to ensure that you're always keeping up your opponents. True physical damage is also a very, very good one. Now, as far as gear goes, it's quite simple. You should be looking for gear that gives you the stats that are primary to you. I primarily like to play on plate, although it's a little bit slower. I'm heavily armored. For that, I will be using dark plate armor because the magic resistant bonus is really good. Light gauntlets because they give me strength and agility. Either dashing boot for the extra magic resistance or lightfoot boots for the extra movement speed. If you're finding a lot of magic users, take the dashing boots, plate pants, crusader helmet. Now you can also take the armlet if you want to, but I really like the agility and dexterity that this gives me. You can go for a faster build with something with like the Grand Bigodin, lightfoot boots, heavy leather pants, crusader helm, light gauntlets. Now this is a build that mostly shines on solos. On duos and trios, I always find myself going back to plate because it needs to be tankier. As a front line with leather and light gear, you just don't find yourself having enough defense and you'll drop really fast. Now, as far as weapons go, for this particular build, I really like the round shield as it offers a decent hitbox along with really good movement speed. For your primary weapon, usually arming sword is my bread and butter, but a few honorable mentions would be the warhammer, the falchion, the horseman axe, and the rondel dagger. My particular favorite one would be the warhammer due to the armor pen that the weapon offers. Now, skills and perks. There's two mandatory perks that I always take, no matter what build I'm doing, and that would be defense mastery and swift. There is just no other better perks to take than these two, in all honesty. They're just way too good. Now, if I'm playing solos, I would be taking something like weapon mastery in order to have a bow and have some ranged DPS in case somebody's trying to kite me, and I will always have counterattack. The 10% movement speed bonus when successfully blocking, it's huge. For solos, for duos, for trios, for whatever. If you are chasing anyone and you block anything, this includes an arrow, a mob, whatever, you will be 10% faster, which in the end, it works like a mini sprint. Now for duos, trios, team play in general, what I would be doing with this build is instead of having weapon mastery, I would probably go with something like either shield mastery or barricade. If I'm really close to that 70% PDR, I will never take these. I will always go with shield mastery. As far as the skills go, sprint, it's really good. You will be able to catch up to people without having many issues. Second wind, it's probably the best perk that the fighter has, hands down. Now let's go over a few fights so you can understand the playstyle. In this case, I'm fighting a rogue, and the rogue is trying to kite me. He opens with rupture as I'm trying to close the gap. My mission is always to close the gap. For that, I pop sprint and I try to get behind him. He manages to outmaneuver me, and I know that I'm going to be slow. At this point, I am waiting for my sprint to come back up while still trying to maintain space and close the gap. Here's a prime example of why I prefer counterattack over shield mastery. In this particular case, I get a block from the hand crossbow of the rogue. However, I get no value due to shield mastery. Had I had counterattack, I would have gained a 10% movement speed bonus and been able to catch up. At this particular point of the fight, I know my sprint is up, so I'm just looking for an opening in order to use it. I'm going to wait for a reload of the crossbow or any time that he misses his path so I can be faster and get close to them. When playing in team play, you should always ensure that you're making space for your team. Your role is of the tank, not of a DPS. As you can see, when I'm backing up, I am trying to make sure that the barbarian is always staying on me. And as soon as I see him go into my teammates, I will go in order to draw all of the tension. As far as some final thoughts, make sure to watch my guide in how to block in order to learn how to block with the shield as well. All of the same fundamentals from that video will apply to the shield. The only difference is that the shield hitbox would be bigger, therefore making it easier to block. Happy 4th of July, my name is Bo Solo, and today has been a pleasure. Peace.
Yes? No? Yes?
For reals?
Yeah, what's up, dude? You guys want to go get the elevator? And just
Hell
fuck
yeah,
everybody
brother.
up on the way?
Bet.
For real, bro. I'm not even mad. What's up?
What's up, dude?
You guys, your turn? It's fine. It's hard.
Yeah, let's hit him when they're not looking. Alright, go.
Alright. Why is your boy hitting me? Betrayal! Betrayal! Satan says the deceiver will wear armor.